Yo, what up guys, I'm Sammy and welcome back to the Soul Drop, and this is my performance review of the Wade All City 13. So this is Way of Wade's brand new shoe, and of course it is the All City line, and the All City line has been absolutely amazing. And this is the red Stingray colorway and it retails for 150 bucks. So if you guys do want to cop, I'll try to leave in the affiliate link in the description box if you do choose to get this shoe. It does help me out if you buy it through the affiliate link in the description box. And also the All City 12 Encore is an amazing performer as well. If you do want to get this shoe, it is available through the affiliate link in the description box as well. But as you guys all know, the All City 12 Encore is an amazing performer as well. So yeah, I'm going to be doing a little bit of a comparison, and of course it's just a full performance review of the All City 13. So let's get it started off with the traction. So the traction is pretty interesting, right? So we have actually rubber here in the forefoot with these segmented herringbone pods, and then here in the heel we got some lines. And the heel material is actually GCU, or ground control unit, from Way of Wade, or I guess Li Ning. And yeah, like I said, this is rubber and this is GCU, right? So the All City 12 Encore had full on GCU, and this shoe had amazing traction, had a really hard stop, pretty much just as hard of a stop as the Flows, of course, from Under Armour or Curry brand. And yeah, how is the traction with the All City 13? So the traction is freaking phenomenal, and it's good right out the box. You don't need to break it in at all. Like the first day I played in these had top tier traction. So if you're playing on a clean court, you have an amazing freaking stop, amazing top tier bite, of course. So yeah, I mean, if you're playing on a clean court, excellent traction, right? The All City 13 has a very nice squeak. Yeah, it's pretty dang loud and pretty dang high pitch. So yeah, of course, nothing to do with performance, but if you do like to have a squeak like me, this shoe has got you covered. And if you are playing on a dusty court, this shoe also is really nice. It was a great kind of like backup shoe for me right now, right? So during the winter months, it's been very dry. It's been freaking cold as well. I mean, not that cold compared to the rest of the world, but in Cali, for us here, it's been kind of cold, right? So yeah, it's been super dry. It's been very dirty on the courts, and a lot of the shoes that I've been testing alongside the All City 13 weren't performing very well. It was sliding around, and I also had to wipe a good amount in a lot of the other shoes that I was testing alongside the All City 13. And of course, the All City 13 was still picking up a little bit of dust, but it was very dusty, right? Like, it was a pretty heavy dusty court, and it was still performing very well. It was just a really easy wipe too, so I just went 1 to 2 easy slight wipes and I was good to go. It was biting through that dust pretty dang well, and if it just built up too much dust here on the outsole, it would just slide around a little bit, and it still wasn't even that bad. It was never dangerous for me. You know, for example, like in the Tatum 3s, the Jordan 39, the LeBron 21s, it's dangerous, you know, and inconsistent in those shoes when it's very dusty. But the All City 13, it was just very consistent, just not a great bite on the super dusty court. But again, if you wiped, you had really nice stops. So very good performance on dust, right? Light dust to moderate dust, you're gonna be good to go. You're not gonna be wiping pretty much at all. If you're playing on a super dusty court, you're gonna be wiping, of course, but it's gonna be better than most other shoes for performance on dust. And then for durability, I feel like it should be okay. And the grooves are kind of thin though, and it moves a little bit with my fingers, you know? When I'm trying to move it with my fingernails, it does move a little bit, but it doesn't feel like it'll be terrible at all on outdoor court. Also, not the best, I don't think, but I feel like it'll be pretty good, right? So outdoor use, you should be fine. You should be good to go. So yeah, the traction here in the All City 13 is top tier. It's absolutely amazing. So yeah, that's one reason why I absolutely love this shoe. Same thing with the All City 12 Encore. This shoe had top tier traction as well. And now moving on to the heel to toe transition, also very nice, right? So here in the heel, we have a nice rounded shape, and this foam, it's kind of like a foam material, right? And this is not boom. Of course, this shoe is using full length boom, and it's exposed a lot here on the medial side, but they are using a different foam type of material here in the heel. So it's actually quite soft, and we have that rounded shape. So it feels nice and smooth in the heel, especially when you're doing heel dominant strides on the court. Also, nice curve shape here in the forefoot. So just from the shape, we got a nice rocking motion, and it does have a Euro plate. It's pretty much full length, right? But here in the forefoot, we do have a good amount of flex, right? And a nice little rebound back. It's not super springy like the WoW 11 or like the GT Cut 3 or the AR2. Those are actually very springy, but this one actually has a good amount of springiness, like a little bit of explosiveness as well, which does feel nice. Like, look at this. So like when you're kind of like going out of your first step or doing heel dominant strides, it kind of propels you forward, which helps it feel like springy and explosive. So yeah, also of course torsional support is good because it does have that TPU plate. They're calling it a Euro plate, right? So there is the heel to toe transition. Now moving on to the cushioning setup. So for guards, the cushioning setup is absolutely amazing, right? So the court feel is really good. I would say the All City 12 Encore has better court feel, slightly, just by a little bit, but it's kind of noticeable, right? When you go from the All City 12 to the All City 13, you can tell the difference a little bit, but I don't think, you know, it's that big of a difference. I don't really think too many people are going to care about that, right? But one thing that is a little bit different is the step-in comfort, right? So the All City 12 Encore, like right when you put your foot in, you can easily feel the compression of the boom cushion underneath your entire foot, right? For the entire footbed, because it is using a soft mesh strollable, right? But in the All City 13, it's a little bit stiffer, just a tiny bit, right? And I am nitpicking because I'm doing a little bit of a comparison. The All City 13, the foam feels a little bit thicker because obviously you are high up off the ground. So the step-in comfort isn't as soft, but the underfoot cushion is a little bit better because once you start going, however, you can definitely feel a little bit more plushness, a little bit more of that boom compressing underneath your foot. You know, just a tiny bit more, right? So the insole is pretty nice when you get it, but it does bottom out, of course. And then underneath that, we do have a pretty soft strobo board still, but definitely not as soft as the All City 12 Encore, right? So yeah, again, All City 12 Encore has slightly better step-in comfort, but the All City 13 has better underfoot cushion once you start playing, right? Overall impact protection is really good. It's adequate, and for most people, you should be fine. When I was doing hard impacts, right, even like heel strikes or landing hard in the forefoot, my feet didn't really hurt at all. Of course, it's not amazing impact protection like comparing to like the GT Hustle 3 or the Zoom GT Jump 2 or like the LeBrons, but I feel like for most people you're gonna be good to go and you're not really gonna have to worry about your feet hurting on harder impacts. There is a nice little subtle bounce, so yeah, the overall cushioning setup is really nice. If you're looking for something crazy, of course, maybe something that has a lot of heel compression, a lot of bounce, or something like that, then of course this is not the shoe for you. Like if you want like a super soft cushion like you know, the GT Jump 2 or like a full-length Zoom unit, which is super duper bouncy, you're not gonna get that here, but I definitely feel like it's a really nice responsive setup for guards that gives you good core feel while still having really good adequate impact protection and a little bit of bounce with pretty dang good step-in comfort and underfoot cushion. So there is a cushioning setup there, of course, very similar to the All City 12 Encore, just a tiny bit different, right? Now moving on to the upper. So the upper is something that I really like in this shoe, right? There's only one con to it in my personal opinion, which is the creasing, right? So when you first get it, it starts to crease right away. It's pretty much like patent leather or any type of synthetic material. The creasing isn't terrible, right? But it's definitely noticeable, right? You can definitely tell where it flexes, of course. But they are calling this the Vajra skin upper. So it enhances the durability of the upper by a lot. And I'm not 100% sure how true that statement is, but it feels like it's very good. You know, there's no ripping, there's no tearing. And also the combination of it being really thin, right? Really thin, but also supportive, gives it a really nice feel to the upper. There is a synthetic material going around the tip of the toe, so it gives it a little bit more structural support here in the toe box, but overall, like right on top of your foot, it's a really thin, minimal material, conforms to your foot extremely well. There's no pinching, it's comfortable still, and like I said, it's supportive, right? And then here in the midfoot, it's the same exact material, nothing really different. Still has a little bit of structural rigidity, I feel like because of these kind of like plastic holes, you know, for the eyelets. And then for the tongue, we have like an average amount of padding. It's not super well padded. And then we have a half booty construction tongue as well, giving you a better overall one-to-one fit. And then here in the ankle area, also pretty minimal padding, not very well padded at all. So yeah, the upper is extremely minimal, which helped this shoe feel really lightweight and very responsive when I was playing in the shoe. That's one thing that I really like, right? The quality also seems pretty good. I mean, it does, you know, seem like, you know, it's a synthetic material, so it's not the best for quality, but I feel like, you know, on foot, you know, and for performance, it's a great upper, right? So there is the upper there. Moving on to the fit. So I went true to size, and this shoe fits me pretty dang well, and it fits me pretty much exactly like the All City 12 Encore. So if you know what size you are here in the 12 Encore, go the exact same size here in the 13. It does scrunch up a little bit here in the toe box, right? It's not super snug here in the toe box. I would say it's around normal snugness. And then for the width, I would say it's around normal width, right? So yeah, it's not the most snug and not the most perfect fit for me, but it's a pretty nice fit, right? Normal snugness and all that. So I didn't really have any issues with it. If you want a super snug fit, I would suggest going down half a size. And if you have a wide foot, probably go up half a size, but for most people you should be fine going true to size. And also another thing that I like about the shoe is that there are 2 rows of eyelets, right? So in this pair specifically, I made the I customized the fit just a tiny bit, as you guys can tell, right? So for these like last 2 eyelets, I put the laces through the bottom row of eyelets, right? So if you want it to be a little bit more snug, a little bit tighter here in the midfoot area, then you can customize the fit to your liking, which this actually does work a little bit, right? So I really like that as well. So there is the fit there. Moving on to the support and lockdown. Yeah, support and lockdown is phenomenal in this shoe, and you're not gonna have any issues. Even if you're a bigger dude, you're gonna be fine, I feel like, right? So yeah, there are shoes like the Sabrina 2, the Jaw 2, or like the PG6, for example, where it's adequate for support, right? For most people, it's adequate, right? But it's not the most supportive shoe because the upper is really, really soft, right? The structural support isn't the best, right? But the All City 13, I feel like has good structural support. And I don't know what it is with this Vajra skin upper, but it just feels really supportive while still feeling like really soft and like just really minimal too. So I really like the upper, right? So yeah, as far as the lateral containment goes, I mean, you're gonna be good to go, right? Here in the forefoot, you do have this synthetic material as well as this plastic clip. It's basically just like this oval shape, right? And it comes up acting as a sidewall here in the forefoot. And here in the heel, we of course have an internal TPU heel counter. Very, very stiff material, right? For example, right? Let's compare it to the Tatum 3, right? So the Tatum 3, as you guys can see, look at this. Literally, look at that. Like the support in the shoe is absolutely terrible, right? Even in the heel, the midfoot area, the forefoot is super duper soft, extremely thin material. But here in the All City 13, like look at it, I can't even do that here in the heel. You know what I mean? So yeah, lateral containment, you're gonna be good to go. Your foot is not coming out of the footbed at all. And also because of the more supportive and structurally sound kind of like upper, especially here in the midfoot, also my foot wasn't really moving inside of the shoe either. So that felt really nice. And also for lateral stability, it was really good too, right? We have a very wide base. You can see how wide and sharp the outrigger here is here in the forefoot. So that's good as well. And I didn't have any heel slippage or anything like that. Overall lockdown was great. So yeah, supporting lockdown, amazing. And you're gonna be good to go even if you are a heavier dude, right? And now moving on to the weight of the shoe. If I remember correctly, it was slightly lighter than average, I think, right? Yeah, 11.75 ounces. Let's check the other shoe. 11.75 ounces, right? So the average weight of my shoes is around 12.5 ounces, so it's almost a full ounce lighter than average, which is good. So yeah, like I said, this shoe feels extremely minimal and feels pretty dang lightweight as well, while still feeling really responsive, right? Because the traction is so dang good. You feel low to the ground. Nothing feels mushy or soft, right? And the fit was pretty dang good for me. The overall upper and the overall shoe is really supportive while still having a pretty springy feel as well. So it's just a really nice guard shoe, it feels like. I guess in the heel, you know, it does protrude out, you know, in the back of the shoe a little bit. So you do have a little bit of material in the back of the shoe, but I didn't really mind that all too much. It doesn't really make the overall shoe feel too bulky or anything like that. So yeah, there is the weight there. Moving on to the ventilation, I guess that is one downside to this upper, right? So the only kind of like airflow you had is through this material right here in the tongue, right? But there's a little bit of airflow, you know, but other than that, you don't have really any other place in the upper where there is good airflow. So yeah, it is a pretty warm shoe, but it's been cold, it's the winter, so I don't really mind that all too much. And then moving on to the aesthetics, I feel like it looks pretty good. You know what I mean? Definitely not my favorite design. I definitely feel like this red colorway looks a lot better than the green one. And of course here in the heel, this is actually inspired by a moon crater, right? So it's a pretty cool design here in the heel, but just a lot going on for the design. I think it's a little too chaotic for me personally, but I don't think it looks terrible, but I also don't think it looks amazing. I think the 12 Encore looks a little bit better in my personal opinion, right? So tell us what you guys think of the aesthetics down in the comment section below. So wrapping things up, yes, this is one of my new favorite hoop shoes, right? And it kind of sucks because it came out very late in the year and I couldn't put it in any of the like end of the year lists, right? You know, in the tier list. Oh, I did put in the tier list, but I couldn't put in like the top performing hoop shoes or whatnot because it did come out late and I just finished reviewing this shoe. But yeah, this is an amazing shoe. I mean, it didn't really surprise me because, you know, the All City line has been absolutely amazing, but this shoe feels like the All City 12 Encore, but a little bit better. You know, the cushion feels a little bit nicer because it feels just a tiny bit thicker, just as good cushion, but the upper feels a little bit like thinner and a little bit more comfortable, I would say, as well, comparing to like this leather material that the All City 12 Encore has. And it also does feel a little bit lighter as well. So I definitely feel like it's a little bit of an improvement from the 12 Encore, which I do like. And it definitely is a top tier performer in my personal opinion. So yes, if you're a guard, you're definitely 100% going to enjoy this shoe in my personal opinion. Also, if you are a bigger dude, I feel like you could definitely make it work. Like I said, the support and lockdown is really, really good. The cushion also is really nice. You're not gonna get super soft and like really amazing impact protection. I feel like, you know, bigger dudes like usually want, but I definitely feel like you can still enjoy it if you are a bigger dude. So yeah, it's a very versatile shoe, very good all around shoe, but overall really responsive and amazing for guards. So anyways, that about concludes my performance review of the Wade All City 13. Again, if you guys do want to cop, I'll try to leave the affiliate link in the description box for this shoe, as well as the 12 Encore. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.